Welcome to the tutorial for the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 pedal. My name is Joe with Eventide. In this video, we're going to learn to navigate the pedal using the front panel controls, how to explore sounds, and how to program the onboard and external foot switches. This is a video manual, not so much a presets demo video, but if you're into that, I invite you to check out the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 playlist on Eventide's YouTube channel. If you're looking for a specific subject, take a look at the table of contents down in the description to navigate directly to it. Let's get started by discussing the back panel. On the back of the H9, there are two inputs and two outputs. They can be configured for instrument or line level operation. Instrument level works best for guitars, basses, pedals, or anything with high impedance signals. Line level works best with things like keyboards, synths, audio interfaces, and DJ mixers. We can make these adjustments in the System menu under I/O. On the right side of the back panel, there are two inputs, one labeled EXP for an expression pedal, and another labeled CTL for auxiliary switches with up to 3 buttons. The EXP input can also accept a control voltage from 0 to 5 volts. Parameters can be mapped to these EXP and control options in various places like Global Pedal Control, Perform Mode Foot Switch Mapping, and in the Parameters Edit menu of each preset. The USB-C port serves to connect to a computer to use the Eventide control application. Use it to edit presets, create custom user lists, and update firmware. The USB-C port can also be used for MIDI control from a MIDI host device. Lastly, there is the power input. The H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 ships with a 12-volt 1-amp power adapter with a center positive 2.5mm connector. It comes with British, Australian, European, and Asian compatible connector adapters. Attach the necessary plug by approaching with a slight angle as you align the pins. Once the top of the plug is touching the top of the receptacle, press downward to lock it in place. To remove it, push the release tab downward and pull out from the back of the plug. Once the right plug is in place, connect the adapter to the power input to turn on the pedal. There is no on-off switch. Either remove the power cable or cut the power to the pedal to turn it off. To power it using an aftermarket pedal board power supply, our measurements indicate it's possible to safely power the H9 by providing either 400 mA at 9 volts or 300 mA at 12 volts. Consult the power supply's manual to know exactly what its current ratings are at each voltage setting. Because third-party power supplies usually come with 2.1mm barrel connectors, it may be necessary to use a polarity reversal adapter that takes a center negative 2.1mm connector and ends with a 2.5 center positive connector. Or use a ready-made reverse polarity cable with the appropriate ends, like the Voodoo Lab 2.5mm reverse polarity cable. With Eventide's Power Max, Power Mini, or Chalk's DC series power supplies, the new H9 can be powered with one outlet at 9 or 12 volts using the green Flex 4 cable. Something to note, when the pedal is turned off, the H9 makes a direct connection from input to output by automatically closing internal relays. This allows sound to pass through. Now that we've covered the back panel, let's discuss the new H9's workflow. Begin by plugging an instrument to in 1. From out 1, plug straight into an amp or a powered speaker. If we wish to output the signal in stereo, connect the cable from out 2 to another amp. The pedal will automatically adjust the algorithms to function in stereo. These are the two most basic ways to connect the H9 and a good starting point to discuss basic signal flow. Of course, the same principles work when connecting to cab sims, provided they're configured for the correct mono or stereo signal flows. But signal from the H9 should come from out 1 for mono and outs 1 and 2 for stereo. By default, the connections on the new H9 are set to instrument level, so no adjustments are needed when connecting a guitar. When connecting keyboards, synths, and other line-level instruments, it's necessary to adjust the H9's operating level. To configure the operating level of inputs and outputs, enter System Settings by pressing and holding the Select and Perform buttons simultaneously. Turn the big knob until I/O is highlighted and push the knob to select it. The bottom of the screen will show the names of rear panel connectors. To change the operating level between instrument or line level of a visible connector, turn the corresponding quick knob below the display. In any part of the System menu, turn the big knob to advance through pages of options. The screen title and cursor below it indicate the active page. The second page in this menu, for example, highlights the connected I/O in the diagram. If we want to go back to the main System Settings menu, press the big knob. To exit System Settings, press any Play Mode button or foot switch. The H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 features two global bypass modes, DSP and Relay. Whenever a preset is bypassed, this mode will affect how the signal running through the H9 is treated. To verify the H9's bypass mode, press and hold Select and Perform to enter the System menu. Using the big knob, choose Global. The second option on the first page is Bypass. When set to DSP, the H9 introduces buffers to input and outputs 1 and 2 that help improve the signal after long cable runs. Most notably, in DSP mode, we'll be able to hear effect tails whenever we bypass a preset that has the tails parameter set to On. DSP is the default setting. When the bypass mode is set to Relay, the H9 keeps the signal analog through the pedal when bypassing a preset. This is known as true bypass. We can actually hear the relay switch making this hardwired connection when bypassing a preset. The input LEDs on the H9 are tuned to dB full scale. The green LED will light when signal is present. We must avoid seeing a red LED as this indicates a clipping signal. There are various things we can adjust to ensure we're maintaining a healthy level. First, try adjusting the output of devices before the H9 to ensure it's receiving a strong but not clipping signal. In this case, the preamp gain of the mixing link is too hot, so backing off a little ensures the signal coming out of the effects end is optimal. Next, make sure the operating level of each I/O matches the impedance of the connected device. A mismatch can introduce noise in the signal and create a volume jump when the pedal is bypassed. Find out if the operating level of a connected device functions at instrument level or line level, and adjust the operating levels of the H9's I/O in the System menu accordingly. Professional rack mount processors, for example, typically run plus 4 dB signals. Many guitar amp effects loops also run at line level. Setting the H9's operating levels to line will optimize the signal and help prevent clipping. Next, experiment running the H9 in Relay or DSP bypass mode. If we notice a level difference when we bypass the pedal in Relay mode, it may indicate a mismatch of impedance. Switching to DSP bypass mode introduces buffers in the signal path that can help remediate these problems, as well as improve the top end of our signal, especially after long cable runs. The new H9's effects are organized in this manner. There are 12 categories of effects like delay, granular, modulation, and harmonizer. Each category has a selection of algorithms. An algorithm is an Eventide designed effect with carefully chosen parameters. Think of these parameters as knobs on an effect pedal. As of this product launch, there are over 70 different algorithms. Each one of these algorithms comes with its own list of presets. For example, in the reverb category, there are at least 14 different reverb algorithms. When one is selected, we can search through the available presets for that algorithm. Once a preset is selected, it can be stored to any position of a user list. On the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2, every list can have up to 99 presets, and it's possible to store as many lists as desired. However, only one user list can be active at any time, allowing us to search through and activate presets. We call this the playlist. The great thing about the playlist is that from one preset to another, we can switch between effect types on the fly with true spillover. For example, from the reverb category, choose the SP2016 reverb algorithm, and then select the Echo Room preset. Store it in the first slot of the playlist. From the harmonizer category, choose the polyphony algorithm and select the Jazz Vibes preset to store in the second slot. Hypothetically, it's possible to have a list with presets from over 70 different algorithms. Of course, it's also possible to create your own presets and populate them into user lists as well. Later, I'll explain how to navigate through the category types, algorithms, and presets using the front panel controls. The online H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 user manual features an algorithm guide where we can learn about all the effect types, their algorithms, and parameters. A direct link to it can be found clicking the burger icon on the top left of the Eventide Control application. Whenever we power on the H9, the playlist is the active set of available presets we can search through and control in play modes such as Select and Perform. To work with a different user list, enter system settings by simultaneously pressing and holding the Select and Perform buttons for a few seconds. Using the big knob, highlight Global and press to enter. The first heading in this menu is Playlist. By turning the quick knob below the display, we can browse the available user lists. The pedal's default list is User 1, which is loaded with a choice selection of presets designed by Eventide. In fact, User 1 and User 1.1 are copies of the Factory 1 and Factory 1.1 lists found in the pedal's memory. These factory lists cannot be erased, but we can copy these lists as well as the presets within them to our own user lists. Only then can they be designated as the playlist in the system menu. User 2 through 4 are purposefully left blank for us to create custom user lists. While the H9 ships with several user lists, more can be created using the Eventide Control software. Here, for example, I created lists for my studio effects, sounds on the new album I'm working on, and my main set list. Though the H9 can store many lists, only one can be designated as the playlist. Once a list is selected, exit system settings by pressing any foot switch to go back to the mode from which we entered, or press the button to enter the preferred mode. Aside from using the Eventide Control app, this is the only way to change lists, so presets should be organized accordingly. Now that we've learned to select the playlist, we're ready to work with presets. When powered on, the H9 will always boot up in the last play mode that was used. Press the Select Mode button to enter Preset Select Mode. The text on the button will be backlit to indicate it is active. In this mode, we can search for presets on the playlist in one of two ways: by turning the big knob, or by pressing the right foot switch to search through presets. At the top of the display, we see the name of the preset, its position in the playlist, and the name of the algorithm that comprises the preset right below it. Here, for example, we have the Echo Verb preset that comes from the SP2016 reverb algorithm. The graphic to the left of the algorithm name shows us the category of the effect. While searching through presets, the pedal will display the preset and algorithm names while flashing the preset number and active LED button. These serve as indicators the effect has not been loaded. Once the desired preset is selected, press the big knob to load it. Otherwise, the search will time out after 5 seconds and remain on the currently loaded preset. Searching with foot switches is straightforward. In Preset Select mode, the right foot switch increments the preset number. The active foot switch loads the selected preset, and consecutive presses toggles between an active or bypass state. Notice how both the green LED button and the name of the preset on the display turn on or off, indicating the pedal's active state. To reverse the direction of the search, press and hold the right foot switch until the right LED button turns blue. Now, consecutive presses will decrement preset numbers. If we search away from the current preset, The green LED button will blink along with the number on the display, indicating this preset has not been loaded yet. It will remain in this state until we press the active foot switch. Notice that when searching with foot switches, the search does not time out like it does when searching with the big knob. It maintains the preset on deck until active is pressed. Here's a tip. Should you want to exit search mode after pressing the right foot switch, one solution is to make your way back to the currently loaded program. But this requires us to remember where we started, and we will have to switch the preset direction. The quickest way to exit, however, is to press Perform and then Select. This will go back to the currently loaded program. If we wish to cancel the search while standing up, press and hold the big knob until the pedal goes into bank mode. Immediately, you'll end up on the currently loaded preset, not the last one that was flashing. If you need to go back to select mode, press and hold the big knob again. This works whether we start in select or bank mode. Above each foot switch, we have LED buttons. In preset select mode, the active LED button serves to activate or bypass the loaded preset, just like the foot switch. They differ in that only the foot switch can load a preset. For example, if I queue up a new preset, pressing the active LED button will simply toggle the active state of the currently loaded preset, not switch to the new position. Only the foot switch can activate the new preset. The button simply changes the active state of the current preset. The right LED button serves to indicate the direction of the preset search. Blue means consecutive presses of the right foot switch will decrement the preset number, while red indicates presses will increment the preset number. Long pressing the foot switch also reverses direction. While in select mode, if we hold down the big knob, we enter bank mode. It's also possible to enter bank mode by holding down the select button. In this mode, we can navigate the playlist in banks of 2 presets. Since user lists can have up to 99 presets, it's possible to have a total of 49 banks, with the 50th having only 1 preset. As an example, the factory lists titled User 1 and User 1.1 have effects organized in banks like Essentials, Delays, Reverbs, and more. User 1.1 has banks like Bass, Lead, Loopers, and even banks for cable method and pre-post configurations. The great thing about bank mode is effects load with one foot switch press. The LED button above the foot switch, as well as the highlighted name on the screen, indicates the active program. Pressing the foot switch again bypasses it. Notice the LED button turns off and the name of the preset gets grayed out. Whenever a preset is first activated, the full name will be displayed on the bottom along with its corresponding algorithm. After 2 seconds, the display reverts to the quick knob mappings. To move to the next bank, press and hold the right foot switch. To go down a bank, press and hold the active foot switch. In bank mode, pushing the LED buttons shows the preset name and underlying algorithm on the bottom of the display. The display will revert to the loaded preset after 5 seconds, or within that time we can activate with a foot switch press. Keep in mind when navigating banks with foot switches, the search will not time out. To return to the active preset, either press an LED button or turn the big knob. After 5 seconds, it will revert to the active preset. Otherwise, if we remember the location, bank over to the original position. A highlighted preset name in the display and a lit green LED are indicators the active preset is in the visible bank. We can also search through banks by turning the big knob in any direction. Notice how the bank numbers change as we scroll past the 2 available presets on the screen. Press the big knob to activate the currently highlighted preset. If we navigate away from the active preset, the background cursor will blink, indicating the preset is not loaded yet. If we do not load this preset, after 5 seconds, the display will revert to the active preset, even if it's in another bank. The only time the display does not revert to the active preset is when we're executing bank search commands with foot switches or auxiliary switches. Speaking of Aux switches, it is possible to map bank search commands to Aux foot switches for quicker searching. For example, instead of changing banks by pressing and holding foot switches on the pedal, we could map the commands for bank up and bank down to an external 3-button Aux switch. Much quicker, right? Or we could map a switch to increment and load or decrement and load automatically. We'll discuss how to program this later in the video. One thing to note, bank names can only be customized on the Eventide Control app. Finally, to exit bank mode, press and hold the big knob or the select button. In Perform mode, we can control the loaded preset with up to 4 configurable switches. The tiny squares on the left of the display show which page of assignments is active. To switch between them, press the Perform button consecutively, or press and hold the big knob until the other page is engaged. Obviously, that works best when using our foot. On the top right of the Perform mode display, we see a bar labeled HotKnob. A HotKnob is an expression controller. Think of it as a hand-controlled expression pedal in knob form. One or more parameters can be assigned to the HotKnob for real-time simultaneous control. As the big knob is turned, the number shows us the expression value, while the highlighted portion reflects the position within the range of expression. I discussed the HotKnob in depth in the parameters menu section later in this video. The Perform mode assignments appear in blocks in the middle of the screen. Each assignment corresponds to the LED button and foot switch below it. For example, on the first page of assignments of the Edge Delay preset, the left foot switch is assigned to control tap tempo, and the right foot switch is mapped to momentarily control the repeat function of the delay. Toggling over to page 2, each foot switch is assigned to a hot switch. When engaged, a hot switch serves to instantaneously change one or more parameters to another set of values. Disengage a hot switch and the same parameters return to their previous settings. We can program up to 2 hot switches per preset on the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2, and they can appear on the same or opposite pages of this mode. Keep in mind that although hot switches are found in Perform mode, they can only be programmed in the Parameters menu, which I'll cover later. To assign a performance parameter to a foot switch, let's make sure we're in Perform mode and choose a page of assignments to work on. I'll stick with the first page for now. Press the left LED or right LED buttons to cycle through the available performance parameters. In this preset, the left block has 9 options. An assignment is made when the option is displayed. No further action is required. For a delay preset such as this, it makes sense to assign a switch to tap tempo. The right switch can be assigned to active bypass, so there won't be a need to go back into select mode. When the foot switch is pressed, not only do the LEDs turn on or off to indicate state, but the block will either say active or bypass. Among the options are momentary states, denoted by an M in parentheses. Here, for example, the preset is active as long as we keep the button pressed. Upon releasing it, the preset bypasses. Other options include hot switches, or the performance functions of a particular algorithm. In this case, we can assign the repeat function of the delay in both momentary or latching states. Latching just means a switch press will engage the repeat function while another press will turn it off. Notice how the display and LED button light up according to whether it's engaged or off. Color plays a role in these assignments. A white LED indicates active states, an aqua color indicates a hot switch, while any other color like blue, red, and green indicates a performance function following the traditional H9 color categories, where green is for modulation, blue is for delays, and red is for pitch shifting effects. In this example, assigning the repeat function is blue because we're controlling a delay. If I were to choose a preset with a pitch shifting algorithm, its flex performance switch would appear red. Nevertheless, it is good practice to use the first page of assignments for common functions like active bypass or tap tempo. This micro-pitch preset is a great example. The second page could be for more creative uses like HotSwitches, or performance functions such as delay repeats, reverb freeze, or this pitch flex option. Regardless, Perform mode is useful to program custom footswitch assignments for a wider range of control from the front panel. In any case, when making assignments, the H9 will automatically show us the available performance parameters we can map to a footswitch based on the algorithm of the preset. Many algorithms have more than one performance function, like the bouquet delay algorithm, which offers a self-oscillation feature and a pitch jump option. There's even a retrigger feature we could map to the second page. Alternatively, we can map performance functions like these side by side on external auxiliary switches. Although Perform mode offers 4 onboard programmable foot switches, it's also possible to assign performance parameters to external auxiliary switches or map them to controller change numbers for MIDI control. To accomplish this, in Perform mode, press and hold the left or right LED button until the performance parameter mapping screen appears. Depending on what the current performance parameter block was assigned to, that option will already be selected under the parameter heading. Nonetheless, with the first quick knob, it's possible to scroll to a different parameter that corresponds with the preset. Under Control Source, we can assign it to an external controller, like an auxiliary switch or a controller change number for MIDI control. Something to note: it is possible to map performance parameters to external controllers that aren't necessarily mapped to the 4 programmable foot switches in Perform mode. In fact, this allows us to extend the range of control beyond the front panel of the H9 if we need it. After assignments have been made, press Perform or the big knob to exit the performance parameter mapping menu. As a precaution, the last thing to be aware of is that since performance parameter mappings get stored on a preset basis, always double check that an external controller is not mapped to the same parameter in the global pedal control menu to avoid erratic behavior with double mappings. The H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 has powerful footswitch programmability, and we can extend the range of control on a preset basis using performance parameter mapping in Perform mode. On the other hand, to have performance parameters assigned to the same external controllers for all presets, these can be assigned in Global Pedal Control. To access this, press and hold Select and Perform until we enter the System menu. In the first option, Global, navigate to the third page titled Global Pedal Control. Under the Parameter category, we can find many of the same options found in the Performance Parameters mapping menu, like Tap Tempo, HotSwitches, and Active Bypass controls. But there are many more useful controls for preset searching, bank searching, and accessing different play modes. For example, use a 3-button Aux switch to increment, decrement, and load presets. We can even map expression pedals to things like quick knobs, hot knobs, and input and output gains for presets. A common parameter to map globally is an expression pedal for controlling the preset input signal for swells. Nonetheless, depending on the parameter we want to control, the H9 will show us the available control source options, as some can only be mapped to auxiliary switches, while others can be mapped to expression pedals and aux switches alike. The key thing to understand is that anything that is mapped here will be the same for all presets. Recall that in Perform mode we have 4 configurable foot switches for control spread across 2 pages. The Perform options, found in Global Pedal Control, correspond to these same Perform mode parameters. By assigning aux switches to these commands, it's possible to engage the performance parameters without even going into Perform mode. To exit Global Pedal Control, we can either go back to the System menu, press a Mode button, or a foot switch. When in any of the play modes like Select, Bank, or Perform, we see the names of parameters that are mapped to the 3 quick knobs just below the display. They provide instant access to crucial parameters within the preset, and it's possible to make our own assignments. Pressing any quick knob will show the current parameter values for 2 seconds. A consecutive press in this view will toggle between 2 pages of 3 assignments. Turning the quick knobs will adjust values. We can assign any parameter across the entire preset to any quick knob. To make an assignment, press and hold the quick knob until the main list of assignable parameters pops up. The highlighted option indicates the current mapping. Turn the knob to search through available options, which are categorized by A for algorithm parameters and G for general parameters. Landing on the option automatically assigns it. A quick press of any quick knob will toggle between assignment pages. The indicator on the top left of the screen shows the active page. To exit the quick knob assignment menu, press the big knob or any edit mode button. A quick way to program multiple assignments when we're in assignment mode is to make all your adjustments at once across the 3 knobs and both pages, and just press Perform to exit. Always remember to save the preset to store changes before navigating away. Anytime an asterisk appears next to the preset name, this indicates the preset has been modified. The asterisk will appear for any number of reasons, like deliberately editing parameters, or moving the quick knobs, adjusting the tempo, or using external controllers to manipulate parameters. Regardless, the asterisk indicates the original preset settings have changed, and the preset should be saved if we want to store adjustments. To save a preset, quickly press and hold the Presets button until the preset saving menu appears on the display. In this menu, the preset number flashes, and Save Preset appears on the top right of the display. Press the big knob twice. This overwrites the current position. If instead we wish to save to a new position, press and hold the Presets button to enter the preset saving menu. Turn the big knob to indicate a new position. This defaults to positions on the currently active playlist, but by turning the 3rd quick knob, we can store to a different user list altogether. Just keep in mind that presets can only be saved to user lists, not factory lists. Once we've decided on a list and position, press the big knob to move on to editing the name. If we don't wish to make changes, simply press the big knob again to finalize. Otherwise, we can use the quick knobs to edit the title by positioning the cursor with quick knob 1, we can choose characters with quick knob 2, and delete characters pressing quick knob 3. Once we've made our changes, press the big knob to store them. If we need to go back to change the preset position, exit the Save menu with any mode button or foot switch. Then, re-enter the saving menu and change the preset number and/or list. Pressing the big knob to advance to the name will show any previously unsaved edits to the preset name, preserving our work. A last press of the big knob saves to the specified location. Something to note: since I've saved this preset to another user list, the display reflects an asterisk as an indication that the active preset has not been saved to the currently active playlist. If we choose to save it in this list, the pedal removes the asterisk. A frequently asked question is, what happens if I accidentally overwrite one of the factory presets on the User 1 or User 1.1 lists by accident? The default H9 playlist is User 1. This is just a copy of the factory list found in the presets menu called Factory 1. User 1.1 is also a copy of Factory 1.1. Should we ever accidentally overwrite something on User 1, we can go into the Factory 1 list, search for the preset name and number we overwrote, and resave a copy of the preset back into the same position on User 1. Press and hold presets to enter save mode. Choose the list you want to save to, and find the correct position. Press the big knob twice to save from Factory 1 to User 1. To verify, I'll choose User 1 as my playlist and check the Vortex preset was replaced by the factory Rotary Sim preset. Each preset on the new H9 is comprised of one algorithm. For each algorithm, we can choose a preset from a wide variety of factory and user options. Press the Presets button to enter the Preset Edit menu. The display will show the current preset name on the top line, the name of the corresponding algorithm on the second line, and its preset position and list name on the third line. Use the big knob to scroll through a list of presets in numerical, then alphabetical order. The preset automatically loads when displayed. We can filter the set of discoverable presets using 3 categories found on the bottom of the screen. Each corresponds to a quick knob below the display. The first category, called List, narrows the selection of available presets to those on a particular factory list, any user list, or the pedals library. The library option displays all the factory presets and sorts results in this order: symbols, numbers, then letters. It's important to note presets in the library cannot be overwritten, but they can be edited and stored on other lists. On the other hand, by choosing All, we're searching through all factory and custom presets found across all lists and the library. In other words, all the presets in the pedal's memory. Keep in mind this type may show duplicates depending on if a preset name is used in multiple locations. While searching with the big knob, the third line on the screen shows the location list and its position on that list. Editing a preset on one list does not change the version with the same name on other lists. The Type category narrows the list of presets to only those that contain a particular effect type. For example, say we choose Delay. As long as any preset in the filtered list uses a delay algorithm, it will be discoverable. In total, there are 13 effect types, including the All option. Say, for instance, we wanted to see all the presets in the entire pedal with granular effects in them. Set the list category to All and set the type to granular. Make sure the algorithm type is set to All as well. Now, turning the big knob will only show us presets across all lists and the library with granular effects in them. Say, for example, we only want to search H9's collection of Eventide reverb presets. We could set the search type to library using the first quick knob. Then we could set type to reverb with the second quick knob. With these filters in place, we'll only discover reverb presets from Eventide's library of presets. Now, say we land on a preset we like, but we want to discover other options on that algorithm. Using quick knob 3 to edit the algorithm filter, we can refine the searchable list to only show us presets from a specific algorithm. In this case, set it to the name of the algorithm on the screen. Now, turning the big knob will only show us the black hole presets that come from Eventide. Later, we can refocus the search to black hole user presets if there are any. Or switch to All to search both user and library black hole presets. At the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2's introduction, there are 74 effect algorithms and mute and through utility algorithms. The through utility only has parameters for input and output gain and tails on and off. While working in presets mode, the active LED button serves to bypass and activate the preset. Not only will the LED turn on or off depending on the state, but so will the name on the screen. The foot switches don't serve a purpose other than to exit presets mode and return to the previous play mode. Something to note. Say for instance, we move to preset 5 on the playlist and enter the presets menu. If we demo a preset here and exit this menu, it will load in the position on the playlist from where we entered. We have the options to overwrite this position, save it in another position, or risk losing it if we move away. To edit preset settings, press the Parameters button. At the top we see the preset name. The second line shows us the algorithm name, next to the Effect category icon. The bottom of the screen shows us the available parameters, and they can be controlled with the quick knobs below the display. In this mode, the big knob serves to navigate through pages of parameters. As you can see in this example, the spring algorithm has 6 pages of 3 parameters each. In addition, consecutive presses of the Parameters button shifts the view between A for algorithm parameters or G, general parameters. The letter on the middle left of the screen indicates the current view. Algorithm level parameters will change depending on the algorithm. General parameters will always offer the same options regardless of the algorithm, and these parameters include input gain, output gain, bypass tails, hot knob, kill dry, and routing. In this menu, the Active LED button will bypass or activate the preset. The LED will turn off and the algorithm name will darken as bypass indicators. In Parameters Edit mode, the last page of parameters for each preset features the HotKnob Controller on Quick Knob 1. This is an expression controller that can manipulate one or more parameters simultaneously. The number shows us the expression value. As we turn the hot knob, notice the highlighted portion shows where we are in the range of expression. The hot knob also appears in Perform mode on the top right of the display and is controlled by the big knob. All parameters can be mapped to the hot knob for tactile control, but they can be mapped to an expression pedal, auxiliary switches, and can even be assigned CC numbers for MIDI control. Whenever we see a diamond icon next to a parameter, it indicates that it's mapped to the hot knob or an external controller. Other than in the System menu, it's in Parameters Edit mode where the bulk of our custom parameter mappings will be configured. To assign a parameter to the hot knob or an external controller, enter the Parameters Editing mode and navigate to the parameter we want to map. Press and hold the quick knob that corresponds to the parameter. After a moment, we enter the Parameter Mapping menu. With the second quick knob, we can assign it to any control source like a hot knob, a MIDI controller change number, an expression pedal, or any one of 3 Aux switches. When mapping a parameter to MIDI CC, we must assign it to a controller change number, preferably one that hasn't been assigned to another function. There's also a Learn option, which automatically senses the control source we're trying to map. For example, if I want to quickly map this parameter to an expression pedal hooked up to the back of the H9, I can choose the control source as Learn and move the pedal back and forth. Notice the H9 immediately detects the expression pedal and makes the assignment. Aux switches can also be detected with the Learn option. Once we've mapped the control source to a parameter, use the big knob to navigate over to the next page to program the control range. The first quick knob sets the minimum point, while the second quick knob sets the maximum point. The name of the parameter will be visible along with the corresponding value of the endpoint we're trying to set. It's possible to reverse the direction of expression by setting the max point to the lower end of the sweep and the min point to the higher end of the sweep. Once we're finished, press the big knob to exit this menu. Here's a tip. Instead of exiting the menu to choose another parameter to map, from the Parameters Mapping menu, we can scroll through the list of assignable parameters and make multiple assignments. There's no need to hunt down parameters one by one and enter with the quick knob from the main parameters page. In any of the play modes, select, bank, or perform, it is possible to assign the hot knob we've mapped to the quick knobs on the display. This provides quick access to the hot knob without going into the parameters menu or switching to perform mode. To make these assignments, make sure we're in any play mode, select, bank, or perform. Press and hold the quick knob until the assignment menu pops up. Turn the quick knob to select the hot knob in the general category of parameters. A reminder, there's a second page of quick knob assignments if we prefer not to make these top level. Once our selection is in place, press the big knob to exit. Now, the hot knob is controllable via quick knob 2. In addition to using the hot knob in Perform mode, or quick knobs to control assignments manually, we can assign the hot knob to an external controller like an expression pedal, or assign a CC number for MIDI control. The fastest way to assign the hot knob to an external controller is to press the Parameters button. Navigate to the hot knob parameter and press and hold the quick knob. Upon entering the parameter mapping menu, the control source parameter will already be set to the hot knob. Here, we can assign a control source and adjust the expression range on the next page if we need to. When designing presets, I recommend always mapping parameters to the hot knob, and then mapping the hot knob to an expression pedal. This way, we don't have to connect an expression pedal to test our mappings. We can just use the onboard hot knob. All presets in the User 1 list have useful hot knob mappings, and the hot knob is mapped to the expression pedal by default. To get a sense of how the hot knob works, browse the effects in the User 1 list and explore turning the hot knob. In addition, this strategy works best if we prefer to have global expression control. By mapping parameters to the hot knob for every preset, we can then map the expression pedal to the hot knob parameter in the global pedal control menu. Now, all parameters and custom ranges that are mapped for every preset can be controlled globally with an expression pedal assigned to the hot knob. For those familiar with the H9 Classic, this strategy works like the ribbon strip expression mapping. Perform mode gives us access to 4 programmable foot switches that allow us to control the loaded preset. Among the available options are HotSwitches, which when activated, instantaneously change one or more parameters to another set of values. Disengage the hot switch, and the same parameters return to their previous settings. The new H9 offers 2 hot switches that can function in latching or momentary modes. Although only one hot switch may be activated at once, a single hot switch can control parameters across the entire preset. This is like having a preset within a preset. It's important to understand that if we activate a hot switch from another hot switch, it's as if we bypassed the first hot switch and then activated the second one. In other words, we cannot layer the changes of 2 hot switches together. That is, unless we program that into its own hot switch, of course. To program a hot switch, go into Parameters Editing mode. Press and hold the Active LED button to program Hot Switch 1, or press and hold the right LED button to program Hot Switch 2. Remember, each hot switch is independent of the other, and both can access parameters across the entire preset. The screen will indicate which hot switch we're editing. Once inside either hot switch menu, we can use the big knob to navigate the preset parameters. The letter in the middle of the screen indicates which category we're working with. A for Algorithm, or G for General. The bottom of the screen displays the available parameters on each page. In most cases, each parameter should reflect it is unmapped. On the other hand, if an assignment has been made, the parameter will shift to the value displayed when the hot switch is activated. To assign a new value to an unmapped parameter, press the quick knob below it. That parameter will immediately be assigned the current value, so now we can turn the quick knob to program a new value. To unmap, press the quick knob once to erase the value. Here's a tip. To audition changes to a hot switch, press the big knob to exit the hot switch edit menu. Doing so will return all parameter values to their original position in the same way that bypassing a hot switch would. Entering a hot switch edit mode is like activating a hot switch, so we'll hear the effects of our assignments. We can repeat this process until we've achieved the desired effect settings. On the right side of the back panel, there is a dedicated input for an expression pedal and a dedicated input for an auxiliary switch up to 3 buttons. The expression pedal input also accepts a control voltage from 0 to 5 volts. It's best practice to connect to an expression pedal or aux switch first before connecting to either input. This way, the H9 can accurately sense the load. To calibrate an expression pedal on the H9, enter the System menu and choose I/O. On the third page of settings, we find the calibration section featuring indicators for the pedal sweep and circles that light up when switches are pressed. When calibration is set to on with the third quick knob, move the expression pedal from heel to toe until the display shows a 0 to 100 sweep range, ensuring proper detection. Similarly, when working with a control voltage, send the signal here to calibrate as well. If the sweep behaves erratically or goes up and back down again, check to make sure we're connecting to the H9 with the appropriate cable. Some expression pedals only work with a TS cable, while others use a TRS cable. Also, watch out for any internal dip switches or extra potentiometers. Some expression pedals use them to reverse the direction of the sweep or adjust the pedal's response curve. Double check to make sure the expression pedal is not designed for a specific device rather than being universal. It's also important to note that the H9's expression port cannot be configured for both expression pedals and Aux switches. So if an expression pedal features a built-in switch of some kind, it may require us to connect to both ports of the H9 to take full advantage of that feature. Eventide recommends expression pedals with a 10 kΩ to 25 kΩ linear potentiometer. While higher ratings work, it may cause the range to be compressed at one end of the pedal sweep. It's best to stick with this recommendation. The calibration page also shows which switch numbers correspond to Aux switch presses. We can think of these as 1, 2, and 3. As we press switches, the corresponding circles will light up. We can then use this information to program the correct switch numbers when mapping parameters or global controls to external switches. In general, for a 3-button Aux switch, the switch wired to tip corresponds to switch 1, ring corresponds to switch 2, and tip plus ring corresponds to switch 3. The H9 accepts momentary, normally open Aux switches. The wiring diagram for a typical 3-button Aux switch is as follows. Here's a tip. Setting calibration to on will allow switch presses to be detected without going into any of the pre-assigned modes that may have been globally assigned to the Aux switch, like the tuner, for example. To engage the tuner on the new H9, press and hold the left and right foot switches simultaneously until the tuner appears on the screen. Use the first quick knob to adjust the tuning frequency. With the third quick knob, it's possible to set the H9 to mute upon entering tuner mode, or hear the signal pass through while tuning. The tuner is using a pre-effect signal. While playing an instrument, the tuner will display the note along with a numerical readout. A minus sign indicates we are flat, while a plus sign indicates we are sharp. Double zeros means we are in tune. The arrows on either side give us a visual cue whether we should be tuning up or down. In addition, try to line up the full circle with the empty circle, as this indicates we are in tune. Press the big knob or any foot switch to exit tuner mode. It's important to note that we can enter the tuner from any play mode except perform mode, since the foot switches there are used for performance parameters. One way around this is mapping an Aux switch to the tuner, which will work even in perform mode. Once we've connected an Aux switch to the control input, go into the System menu, into the Global section, and navigate to the last page where we find Global Pedal Control. Select Tuner in the Parameter category, and set your control source to the appropriate switch number. Now we can get into and out of tuner mode with one button. To create a custom preset on the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2, there are a few approaches we can take. First, we can use any preset as a jumping off point and make our own changes. Overwrite the current preset or save it to a position on any user list. Second, we can load presets from the H9 library using filters to narrow down categories. For example, we can search through all presets with delays in them. As we demo different presets, we can customize the ones we like and save them to any list. Or we can switch to a user list with init presets that feature the through utility. This is as bare bones as it gets. From here, we can enter the presets menu to explore presets from the assortment of algorithms. It's important to understand that whenever we load an algorithm, it automatically loads with a preset. We can then search through its preset list in alphanumerical order. There aren't necessarily any default presets, even though some of them are named after their algorithm. The idea is to choose one as a starting point, make it our own, and store it in any of our own custom lists. From factory, the H9 comes with 3 user lists with init presets: User 2, User 3, and User 4. If we need to create more lists with init presets, we can do so on the Eventide Control app. Whichever method we choose, we can use the techniques we've learned in this tutorial to find or create the sounds we need. The online algorithm guide is a useful resource for learning about the vast collection of available effects on the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2. It features general descriptions of each algorithm, an explanation of every parameter, and shows the factory preset list. Should you ever have a question related to the pedal, I invite you to check out Eventide's Stompbox forum on eventideaudio.com, where you can find pinned topics such as H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 Software Latest and Eventide Control Latest, or ask the community a question. General support can be reached directly at support@eventideaudio.com. Thank you for watching this essential overview. Be sure to follow and subscribe for future content on the H9 Harmonizer Gen 2 and other Eventide products.